Animals in the wild, depending on the species, usually stay by themselves, and while that may work for many types of animals across the world, some creatures enter into a partnership, a relationship even, a way to coexist and to survive beneficially. Sometimes it comes from an ingrained biological tendency or from some random chance, but the way nature has put together these relationships can just about be called beautiful, so that's why we're going over 9 beautiful animal relationships. But before that, make sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of our future content, so let's get into it. You don't see animals staying with only one of their species very often. In fact, very few are monogamous, but there is an animal that mates for life primarily, and that is the penguin. Penguins mate for life for the most part. A male penguin will find a female and they'll have an egg, and the male penguin will take care of his young for months, while the mom is out grabbing food. And somehow, the female will most of the time find her way back to the father and the child. They stick together for a season, or for life depending on the species, and that helps ensure the survival of their child. You're probably familiar with the famous Koko the gorilla. The gorilla, when she had lived, knew hundreds of words in sign language and could communicate her feelings to other people very well. She said she wanted a kitty, and her handlers eventually did get her one. She even raised it for a few years, and as a very smart gorilla, she even got to name her precious cat Allball. Humans are very much as part of nature as animals are. So we bring you a story of another gorilla and his old friend. A man named Damien had spent years taking care of Queeby the gorilla, and getting him ready to be returned to the wild. After many years of being returned to the wild, Damien had returned to where he left Queeby, unsure if his gorilla friend would remember him. After Damien greeted his old friend Queeby, they two hit it off almost instantaneously. They proceeded to hold one another and interact as friends who haven't seen one another for many years. This next relationship is unlikely, but not impossible. The majority of kittens don't like making friends with any animals besides their moms, but this rule was completely broken with a cat named Cassie. She was an abandoned kitty who was taken under the literal wing of a very compassionate wild crow named Moses. Cats tend to chase and eat birds, but that wasn't what happened. Moses helped the kitten by keeping her out of the road and even going as far as to feed her. When faced with a situation, you know dogs will step up, especially when dogs are in the mothering phase of being pumped full of hormones. A tiger was too sick to take care of her baby cubs, so a very loving dog took over and began taking care of them. And the part that's even stranger is that this isn't something unusual in the animal kingdom. According to experts, it's not uncommon for abandoned animals to latch onto a surrogate mother when their own species abandons them. Whether it's purely chemicals or it's want to help, this is very beautiful. Primates are capable of a lot of different actions, especially when it comes to making friends with species that aren't the same as them. However, this is exactly what a dog did at the Twycross Zoo in Birmingham. The guardian dog's name was Bugsy, and he was a bulldog. The baby chimp Kia and Bugsy had a solid relationship full of cuddling and general closeness, so we're sure it was a two-way street for them. Even when two animals seem like mortal enemies, they can find common ground through the strength of a mom's love. The lioness in this picture had not had her own cub when she decided to adopt a baby oryx. Despite what you may want to believe, this was the 3rd time that she had actually done this. Her name is Larsons, and she had lost her first adopted baby to a lion, while the second was lost by a park warden. And on her 3rd attempt, she actually managed to successfully take care of the baby oryx for quite some time. In the case of a baby elephant named Themba, she had a rough, shaken life. Themba was just a small elephant when her herd had abandoned her, unfortunately. Sad and very alone, she might have not survived very long in her habitat, but her luck would soon change for the better. Many workers of the Shamwari Rehabilitation Center would save her life, and Themba would meet her new mom, Albert. Albert is a sheep that was initially aggressive, but after a while, these two grew to be a tight-knit family where one goes, the other one does too. Inseparable by any standards. Just a beautiful connection these two hold. Sometimes a relationship is built on trust, especially in this one here. The penguin, affectionately named Din Dim, famished one day, starving and needed food. Zhao, the fisherman, took it upon himself to feed this delightful little bird and helped him recover, until he was back at full strength. Because of this kindness, the penguin had decided to stick around for a little while. Din Dim had left soon after that, And now every few years, Din Din will return to his friend that had saved him. No one's really sure why he does this, but we're fairly certain it has to deal with Din Din wanting to see his friend. We hope you guys enjoyed and were amazed by some of these animal relationships, whether it be with people, another animal, or an animal finding another mom. We do hope you guys have a great one.